So, good morning, all of you. So, today we are going to discuss that the further basic. Nyaneshwar Maitre.
Sorry, sir.
So, today we are going to discuss the further basic concepts of that magnetic circuit. We call it magnetic permeability. It is represented with the mu. Is it right? Now, before going to discuss about that the magnetic permeability, let me repeat that the Coulomb's law for the magnetic effect. So the Coulomb's has given that the force exists between the two magnetic pole placed near to one another, which is equal to K m1 m2 divided by d square, where m1 m2 are the pole strength of the magnet and the d is the distance between their centers. But as we know that the two magnets, they are separated from each other, but they are placed near to each other. It means that these two magnets don't have the physical contact in between them. Then also the force is exist. It means that this force is not only depends upon the pole strength of these two magnets, but it is depends upon the surrounding medium. Is it right? And that's why this K, we call it a medium constant, which is equal to 1 upon 4 pi mu 0 mu r, where this mu 0 mu r, we call it a permeability. It can be represented with that mu. The permeability, the name itself gives that meaning. One, it's a permission. And second one, it's an ability. Is it right? The combination of these two words, we call it a permeability. It means that as we know that in the magnetic circuit, what is the movable part actually? We call it a magnetic flux, or we call it lines of force. These lines of force, we call it a magnetic flux lines. Lines of force. This is the movable part. If the substance can easily pass the flux lines through within or through it, we call it that substance has its a high permeability, because this substance will give the permission to flow the flux lines through it. That's why we call that substance having its a high permeability. If the substance will not allow to flow the flux lines through it, it means that this substance will not give the permission to pass the flux through within it. It means that that substance have a low permeability is there. Is it that clear, the concept of that permeability? Now try to read that the definition for the permeability. It is defined as the S with which the magnetic flux permit the medium. It is nothing but that S is nothing but the cause. It is defined as that S with which the magnetic flux permits the medium. Means the material, the medium will allow the magnetic flux through it, which is called as a permeability. In another word, if I want to define, then we can define like that. It is defined as the ability of a material to carry the flux lines. This is called as the permeability of that material. It means that certain substances shows high permeability, certain few substances shows the low permeability. If the substances have high permeability, it means that they can easily pass the flux lines through it. And if the substances have low permeability, it means that will not, or the total high permeation will not provided to the pass of the magnetic flux through it. This is nothing but the magnetic permeability is there. Read it. If material allows the flux lines to pass through it easily, जर एखाद्या मटेरियल मधून मॅग्नेटिक लाइन्स किंवा फ्लक्स इझिली पास होत असेल, then the material is said to have high permeability. If the material does not allow the flux lines to pass through it easily, does not, then the material said to have the low permeability is there. The material like iron, steel have high permeability, whereas the material like wood have the low permeability. Means the wood will not allowed to pass the magnetic flux through it easily. That's why the wood have the low permeability there. This is the meaning of that permeability. Now, in another word, the magnetic permeability of a material can also be said to be its magnetization capability. Means what? If the material can easily pass the flux lines through it, it means that that material, it will be self-magnetized. It means that that material itself, if it is past that magnetic lines, means the material itself acts as a magnetic material. It can be acts like an electromagnet. If the material will not pass the magnetic flux lines, it means that the material will not act like an electromagnetic. So this helps in determining how much of the magnetic flux can the material support which will pass through it. This is nothing but the permeability. And this permeability, it's having three types. If you see that, the types are: number one, permeability of a free space, or you can call it a vacuum or air medium, and it can be denoted with a mu zero. This zero stands for permeability of a free space, air medium or vacuum. Then second one is the permeability of a medium. मग पहिल्या टाइप मध्ये मीडियम काय होतं? फ्री स्पेस, either free space or air or vacuum. But now in the second type is the permeability of a medium. The medium, it may be like that iron, cobalt, nickel, whatever it may be. The wood may be that also that medium here. Get it my point? And the third one is the relative permeability. It can be represented with the mu r. So let's try to discuss the things about the permeability. Just now I say that the permeability is nothing but it is the permission to the pass of a magnetic lines. It is the permission given by that medium to pass the magnetic lines of force. It means that actually this permeability, it gives the relationship in between the two things. What are these two things? Number one, the magnetic flux density, means B. I say that, let me write it down here. The magnetic permeability, it gives the relationship in between the flux density and the magnetic field strength H. How it is? As we know that if I consider a one conductor, and when we pass the current through that conductor, as we know that Oersted experiment, the magnetic field is generated along its length of that conductor. With I can show with the dotted lines. This is the magnetic field, and this magnetic field is in a medium. Then, if the medium is air, then definitely we have to consider about the permeability of a free space, air or vacuum. If the medium is any iron material, because these magnetic flux lines can also flow through this material, that time we have to consider about the permeability of a medium. Is it right? It means that the permeability concept is related to these two things, B and H. How? Let's go to that one by one. Permeability of a free space, you can also call as a permeability of a vacuum, permeability of a air medium. Now what is its definition? The definition is for the magnetic field in air or free space or vacuum. कारण हे म्हणतानाच आपण काय म्हणतोय, द permeability of free space. It can be represented with a mu zero. It means that the medium is either free space or air or vacuum. So that the definition, it starts with, for the magnetic field in the air or free space or vacuum, the ratio of a flux density to the magnetic field strength produced that flux density is called permeability. Who is that? Who is that? So the permeability of a free space represented with a mu zero is nothing but the ratio of a flux density in that air, free space or vacuum to the magnetic field strength produced that flux density, because this H is responsible to produce the flux density is there. That's why in the definition it is given produced that flux density. And the B naught is nothing but the flux density in the medium, and that medium here is air, free space or vacuum. And experimentally it is observed that this permeability of a free space having its a constant value, and that constant value we can also write it down, B naught is equal to mu naught into H, and this constant value is nothing but 4 pi into 10 raised to minus 7 unit is Henry per meter. So you have to remember that value. The ratio for mu zero is nothing but the permeability of a free space, air or vacuum, and everywhere the value of mu zero is always remain constant, and that value is 4 pi into 10 raised to minus 7 Henry per meter. This is the point here. Is it that clear? Then now this is the permeability of a medium, air, free space or vacuum. If the medium is the magnetic material, it means that iron, cobalt, nickel, is it right? Then what happened? That permeability we call it a permeability of a medium. आता ज्या वेळेस आपण परमेबिलिटी ऑफ अ मीडियम म्हणणार आहोत त्यावेळेस याचा अर्थ असा होतो की आता मीडियम हे एअर मीडियम नसणार आहे, व्हॅक्युम नसणार आहे, फ्री स्पेस नसणार आहे, कारण त्याच्यासाठी परमेबिलिटीचा कन्सेप्ट वेगळा होता. आता ज्या वेळेस आपण मीडियम म्हणतोय त्यावेळेस ते other than air, free space or vacuum, that is the medium we consider that. So the definition is, for the magnetic field in the particular medium. Particular medium म्हणजे काय, तिथं ब्रॅकेट मध्ये लिहिलेलं बघा, that other than air, free space or vacuum, other than these three medium, the rest of that medium we call it a medium. The ratio of a flux density to the magnetic field strength produced by that flux density is called as a permeability of a medium. So that our formula it becomes, आता इथं not दिसत नाही बघा, the permeability of a free space, it is represented with the mu naught, and this mu naught is nothing but B naught upon H. Now here the permeability of a medium, it can be represented with the mu, which is equal to B upon H, or we can also write B is equal to mu into H, and its a unit is, it's the same, Henry per meter. Is it right? And the value of this mu is different as, and it is depends upon that medium. It means that if that medium is iron, the value of mu is different. If the medium is nickel, the value of mu is different. If the medium is cobalt, the value of mu is different. It means that now here the value of mu is totally depends upon that particular medium. So that we can say that the value of mu changes material to material. Is it that clear? So this is about the permeability of medium, and for both the types, permeability of a free space represent with the mu zero, and the permeability of medium represent with the mu, having its same unit, I say that mu 0 which is equal to V0 upon H, and both are having the unit Henry per meter. So sometimes this question it may ask for MCQ type of question here. But out of these two, if you compare the mu, if not is there, so you have to consider that this mu is the permeability of a medium, and if the not is present, it means that you have to consider that this is the air, free space or vacuum. These three medium you have to consider here. And you know that this mu, the value of this mu is depends upon the material, but the value of mu naught, it's always constant, which is equal to 4 pi into 10 raised to minus 7 Henry per meter. Get it my point? So this is the difference between the permeability of free space and the permeability of the medium is there. And then the third type, it's a relative permeability, is the unitless quantity. Why we say that it's a unitless quantity? Because the relative permeability, see the definition, it's a ratio of a flux density produced in a medium. The ratio of a flux density produced in a medium. Medium other than free space, air or vacuum, to the flux density produced in that air or vacuum by the same magnetic field strength under identical condition is called as the relative permeability of that material. It means that from this definition we can write the mu r, it's a notation used to denote that the relative permeability, which is equal to B upon B naught. Now at the numerator term, if you see that the B, it represents the flux density in a medium, and the B naught, at the denominator part, if you see that the B naught, it represents the flux density in an air, free space or vacuum medium. But the next part is very important, produced by the same magnetic field strength. And the magnetic field strength means exactly what? The magnetic field strength is nothing but what? It's a H. Is it right? So as you know that mu 0, which is equal to B naught upon H, and the mu, which is equal to B upon H. Is it right? We can also write B naught is equal to mu naught into H. Similarly, we can also write V is equal to mu into H. And if I try to put the value of B and B naught in the equation of a relative permeability, then here we got mu R is equal to mu into H upon mu naught upon H. But here H, it stands for the magnetic field strength, is the same for both the things, so that it will get cancelled, and we got that equation mu R is equal to mu upon mu 0, or you can also write it down mu is equal to mu 0 into mu R. But if you see that the ratio as per the definition of relative permeability, if you see that the mu R is the ratio of a flux density. At the numerator side also the flux density is there. As we know that the unit for the flux density is Weber per meter square or Tesla. Is it right? And denominator is also the flux density Weber per meter square or Tesla, so that the mu R is the unitless quantity, because it is the ratio of the flux density is that. But the mu R is the unitless. Is it right? But if you see that the unit for mu 0 and the mu, which is nothing but the Henry per meter. So these things it may ask for MCQ type of question here. So the unit of this mu is what? It's a Henry per meter is that. Is it that clear? So these three terms, one is the permeability of a free space, mu naught, Then second is the permeability of a medium, mu, and the third one is the relative permeability, mu r. Is it right? Out of that, the mu zero permeability of a free space always having its a constant value 4 pi into 10 raised to minus 7. Mu, it depends upon the material, and as we say that the mu is depends upon the material, and the mu r is nothing but mu upon mu zero, it's a constant value. It means that the mu r relative permeability is also changing with respect to the material here. So these three terms are very important to understand. The further concept is that. Okay. So right now, see that we discussed that the lot of definitions from the starting of this topic. So its request is that you please try to go through that all the definitions, because as it's my experience is that the students are always forget the unit and the notation used for the particular terms are there. Get it my point? And then our next part is that electromagnetism. But out of that, if I try to recall what the concepts we discussed till now, then let me try to recall that concept here. The first, we will recall, or we say that the first definition, which is nothing but the pole of the magnet. Pole of the magnet. It means that N pole and that S pole is there. Second, we discuss about pole strength, and the unit for the pole strength is Weber or ampere meter. SI unit is there. Then third thing we discuss that, which is nothing but the magnetic region. Magnetic region, or we say that magnetic field. Then fourth, we consider that magnetic lines of force. Magnetic lines of force. Then fifth, we discuss about magnetic flux. Magnetic flux. It's the problem today due to network. It's that whatever I'm writing, it's not clearly visible, but you can try to understand the terms here. It can be represented with the phi, and again, its a unit is Weber. The next one we discuss about flux density. Flux density, and this flux density, it can be represented with the B. Is it right? It has its a formula. B is equal to phi upon A, so that its unit is Weber per meter square, or I say that, 1 minute please, or it's a Tesla. Is it right? And it can be also called as a magnetic induction. Flux density is also called as a magnetic. Oh, it's quite a difficult thing is there. What happened? I don't. Magnetic. It's not visible. Induction. Okay. Then the seventh term we discussed that it's a magnetic field strength. Magnetic field strength. It can be represented with the H. Is it right? And its a unit is, it's quite a difficult thing to write here. H. And the last one we discussed that it's a permeability, and in that we discuss the three things: the permeability of a free space, mu zero; permeability of a medium, mu; and the third one is the relative permeability, unitless quantity there. So in this way, if you try to summarize every day, then definitely, because the lot of definitions we have to discuss in this unit, so that it's quite difficult for the student to remember all the such things. So if you try to create that the summarized point, and through that if you try to remember, then it's a quite easy thing is that. And once it will be remembered, then definitely it's not necessary to repeat it once again. This is my observation is there, or this is my experience. Get it my point? And now let's we try to discuss about that electromagnetism concept is there. The name itself gives electro, this is the one word, and the second one is the magnetism. That electromagnetism, how we can define? It means that we know that that Oersted experiment, when that electric current it flows through the conductor, the magnetic field is generated along its length. And that it is also observed that, just consider that, if you consider that phenomenon by which the magnetism is produced by the effect of electric current, means due to the electric current only the magnetic field is produced around the conductor, that phenomena, that concept is called as the electromagnetism. Get it my point? And then if you consider that a conductor, this is a one conductor, if we assume that we are passing a current through that conductor, the current it can be flow in this way, and we know that whenever the current is exists, definitely the magnetic field is generated. मग त्याच्यासाठी कोणता एक्सपेरिमेंट केला गेला की एक कंडक्टर घेतला, त्या कंडक्टर मधून करंट पास केला, मग त्या कंडक्टरच्या भोवती एक मॅग्नेटिक नीडल it will be placed near to that conductor, and it is observed that whenever the conductor is there, there is a deflection. Whenever the current is flowing through that conductor, there is a deflection of a magnetic needle. Whenever current is flowing, there is a deflection of a magnetic needle. What it represents? It simply represents the current will create the magnetic field around the length of the conductor here. If the current flowing through the conductor is a stop, then definitely there is no any deflection of the magnetic needle is there. So, and this magnetic lines, this magnetic field is always in the form of concentric circle around the length of that conductor is there. Get it my point? Otherwise somebody might be thinking like that, that magnetic field is not visible. Then how we can say that when the current is flowing through the conductor, the magnetic field is generated? This was the Oersted experiment. This was the Oersted experiment. Due to this magnetic needle, we can prove that the magnetic field is generated along the length of that conductor. Is it that clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Once again, just please see these things. What that experiment is there. Here we consider that one conductor. When current is flowing through that conductor, is it right? And one magnetic needle is placed near to that conductor. It is observed that when the current is flowing through the conductor, there is a deflection of this magnetic needle. And why the magnetic needle shows the deflection? It means that the magnetic field is generated along the length of that conductor. And we know that these magnetic lines of forces are the imaginary concept. That's why I have shown these magnetic lines of forces in the dotted lines, and they are always in a concentric circles around that conductor here. Okay, now if you try to go forward, then definitely the question comes how to find the direction of magnetic lines, because these magnetic lines of forces are in the form of concentric circles around that conductor, and the direction of these magnetic lines of forces is either clockwise or anti-clockwise based on the direction of a current. It means that the direction of a magnetic field produced around the conductor is totally depends upon the direction of a current. Then how to find out the direction of these magnetic lines of force? And there the one rule is given, and that rule we say that it's a right hand thumb rule. With the help of this right hand thumb rule, we can easily find out the direction of a magnetic field. Now what is that right hand thumb rule? Here if you see that the diagram, the right hand thumb rule is also known as right hand gripping rule. Is it right? It means that through which conductor the current is flowing, hold the conductor in the right hand with a stretched thumb. Hold the conductor in the right hand with a stretched thumb. If the stretched thumb indicates the direction of a current, that time the curved fingers, the remaining fingers, curved fingers around that conductor will show the direction of a magnetic lines of force. Is it that clear? Yes or no? Once again, I will repeat. Just try to read it. Hold the conductor in the right hand, or just assume that we are holding the conductor in the right hand with a stretched thumb pointing in the direction of a current. म्हणजे thumb काय करणार आहे? The current ची direction denote करणार आहे. That time, this curved finger, the direction of a curved finger indicates the direction of a magnetic field around the conductor is there. And based on that, the few points you have to note it down regarding that magnetic field. The following points may be noted about that the magnetic effect due to electric current is there. What are the points? Greater the current through the conductor, stronger the magnetic field around it at vice versa. म्हणजे जर कंडक्टर मधून हाय व्हॅल्यू ऑफ अ करंट पास झाला तर डेफिनेटली स्ट्रॉंग मॅग्नेटिक फील्ड ही तयार होणार आहे, अँड द वाइस वर्सा. It means that if the current value is smaller, then definitely the weaker magnetic field is generated along its length of that conductor is there. The second, the magnetic field near the conductor is strong. As we already discussed that the magnetic field near the conductor is strong and become weaker and weaker as we move away from that conductor is there. Third, the magnetic lines around the conductor will be either in a clockwise or in a anti-clockwise depending upon the direction of a current. म्हणजे जी काय मॅग्नेटिक फील्ड तयार होणार आहे ती आयदर क्लॉकवाईज असू शकते किंवा अँटी क्लॉकवाईज असू शकते. तर ते कशावरती डिपेंड आहे? करंटच्या डायरेक्शन वरती डिपेंड आहे. दिस इज द थर्ड पॉइंट इज दॅट. अँड द शेप ऑफ दॅट मॅग्नेटिक फील्ड डिपेंड्स अपॉन द शेप ऑफ द कंडक्टर. म्हणजे त्या कंडक्टरचा शेप कसा आहे? जर लॉंग स्ट्रेट कंडक्टर असेल तर त्याची मॅग्नेटिक फील्ड कशी असेल? सोलेनॉइड कॉइल असेल तर त्याची मॅग्नेटिक फील्ड कशी असेल? इट्स टोटली डिपेंड्स अपॉन द शेप ऑफ दॅट कंडक्टर इज देयर. सो दीज आर द 4 पॉइंट्स. So all of you please read it, all these 4 points, because these 4 points are nothing but the further concept is there. The first point is that, once again I will try to read. The first point is that greater the current through conductor, stronger the magnetic field around it, and vice versa. Second is the magnetic field near the conductor is strong and becomes weaker and weaker as we move away from that conductor. Third one is magnetic lines around the conductor will be either clockwise or anti-clockwise depending upon the direction of a current. And the fourth one is shape of that magnetic field depends upon the shape of the conductor. And now we are giving the more focus on the fourth point. What is that fourth point? Shape of the magnetic field depends upon the shape of the conductor. Now we will try to see that the different shapes, and then we will see that what is the shape of the magnetic field here. Just consider that electromagnetic field shapes. As we know that the shape of electromagnetic field depends upon the shape of the conductor. Let us see that electromagnetic shapes for long straight conductor, parallel conductors, and the solenoid coil. These three things we will consider, and based on that we will try to find out the resultant shape of the magnetic field is there. Now consider that the long straight conductor. Here we are considering the long straight conductor carrying a current. Just see in the diagram, just see in the picture. This is a long straight conductor. And when we consider that, when we assume that the current is flowing through that conductor. आता इथं तुम्ही अजून काय करा, the current is flowing into the plane of paper and apply the right hand thumb rule. आता ज्यावेळेस करंट कंडक्टर मधून फ्लो होणार आहे, so definitely the magnetic field is generated along its length. Now how to find out? Just consider that one plane of paper, suppose this is a plane of paper, and now current is flowing into the plane of paper. So apply the right hand thumb rule like that. The stretched thumb, hold the conductor, is it right? Now this is the plane of paper. Hold the conductor in the right hand with a stretched thumb. The thumb indicates the direction of a current. Now here we say that in this case, if we assume that the current is flowing into the plane of paper, can you give me that in which direction that magnetic flux or magnetic field is produced? Clockwise or anti-clockwise?
Clockwise.
It's a clockwise. See that. Get it my point? So when we consider that the current is flowing into the plane of paper, definitely now this cross, the cross is nothing but the current is flowing into the plane of paper. And due to that current, a magnetic field around it is always in the concentric circle, as I rightly mentioned that. So this is the resultant shape of a magnetic field due to long straight conductor. Due to the long straight conductor. Now definitely you might be thinking like that, what happened when the current is flowing out of the plane of paper? Just see that. Current carrying out of the plane of paper. Now this is the plane of paper, and now if I say that the current is flowing out of the plane of paper, म्हणजे त्या plane paper मधून बाहेर पडतोय. So that stretched thumb indicates the direction of a current. Just consider that this is the conductor, and when the current is assuming out of the plane of paper, so definitely in which direction that magnetic flux lines will be moving? Anti-clockwise direction. So here this is the direction of the magnetic field produced. And now when I say that the current is flowing out of the plane of paper, we can denote it with a dot. When the current is flowing into the plane of paper, we can denote it with a cross. If the current is flowing out of the plane of paper, we can denote it with a dot. And we know that when we assume that current through the conductor is flowing out of the plane of paper, so definitely the magnetic field is produced in an anti-clockwise direction. Is it that clear? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Today we stop here. Okay. And again, it's my request, please go through that my video. Definitely I will upload that the video and try to clear that the concepts. Okay.